Hello, hello, and welcome. It's LaShanda Henry here, aka SistaSense, and we are once again inside the SistaSense Firestarter Circle for our monthly mastermind experience. Today, what we're going to do is talk about two particular types of content you should be working on. Number one, catalogs, and number two, calendars. So, welcome to the circle. If you are new, welcome back, my OGs who have been in the circle community for quite a while. As always, I like to share a couple of things with you. Number one, you can always join the conversation in our Facebook group over at firestarters.sistasense.com. That's number one. And number two, as we go through the contents today and 2 weeks from now in our other follow-up mastermind session, make sure that you are taking notes, whether it be in a Google Doc over at docs.sistasense.com or via your notebook. So, housekeeping things aside, Facebook group, taking notes, what's our agenda for today and for our mastermind session number 2? Essentially, what I wanted to do was to break this conversation up into 2 sessions so that we can talk about a few different things. Number one, catalogs. Some of you are in a space where you print physical content, right? But I love to do a lot of my stuff as digital, especially creating digital PDFs. So what I want to do is run down for you some of the types of digital catalogs that convert really well when it comes to really showcasing different types of offers you want to present to your audience, okay? So we're going to talk about different types of catalogs that maybe you are putting together or you can put together to promote your offers, whether it be your main offers or even affiliate offers to your audience, okay? That's what we're going to focus on today. And then 2 weeks from now, we're going to dig into part 2, which is talking about calendars, crazy good calendars that can work for you and work for your customers too. So the crazy good calendar conversation is twofold in that I want to talk about calendars you should be creating to keep yourself on track and really in alignment when it comes to your business growth goals, right? When it comes to your productivity and the things that you're trying to accomplish. So talking about calendars that you personally need for yourself and then calendars that you should be creating to engage and interact with customers, okay? So it's going to be part 2 when we come back into our mastermind again in 2 weeks. Now, as I go through this conversation, there are a few things that we're going to dig into. Number one, conversion marketing. I believe that when you give people really visually appealing tools to see what you have, it optimizes your conversion. People want to see what you have. They want to know what's available. They want to be able to click and purchase and order and all the things. So you want to work on creating appealing, brandable, visual pieces, number one, whether they be digital or physical. And then number 2, people want to know what's going on with you. If they are your fan, if they're a previous customer or a potential customer, they want to be in the loop as far as what's happening in your world. So intentionally sharing your schedule, I call that my 3 N's, letting people know what's now, what's new, what's next, and doing that on a consistent basis can help you generate revenue, right? Again, you want to work on how can you optimize conversions by showcasing your best offers, whether those be your core offers or promotional offers, affiliate offers in catalog form. And you also want to make sure that you are creating calendars that are going to help you stay on track, but then also keep your customers in the loop, okay? Those are the 2 things that I want you to be conscious of. Catalogs that convert and crazy good calendars. So, conversion, we're definitely going to dig into that as part of this 2-part mastermind. And also AIMS. As you know, AIMS is one of my favorite acronyms. Am I missing something? So I'm going to give you a list of different types of catalogs and different types of calendars, tongue-tied, with the purpose of you being able to identify what you have versus what you're missing, all right, as far as the kind of content you should be integrating more into your business model, okay? Then, of course, I always love to challenge you not just to listen, right, to the presentations and hang out with me virtually as part of these masterminds, but I also challenge you to actually pick your projects and get to work, right? Work on creating new pieces of content, updating old pieces of content, or designating time to share those pieces of content with your audience, your existing audience, and your potential customers online, right? Last but not least, templates and tools, resources that you can use to put together your content. That's also going to be a part of our conversation today, okay? So now that we've gone through relatively quickly the agenda, let's dig into what I call the meat and the potatoes, okay? So again, today we're going to focus on catalogs that convert. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things. Number one, run down these different options, and then for quite a few of these, share with you examples of what you can do, okay? Now, as we go through this list, and actually let me just do a quick power pause real quick. Quick power pause. Okay, so as we go through this list today, I want you to be able to check in with me if there are any particular things that you see that you have questions about, okay? So I want to make sure that I can help you figure out what you have that you should be utilizing more, or where you need to create some new content, okay? So my Grammarly, it's on the screen. It's just going to bother me. So real quick. Okay, so let's talk about this extensive list of catalog style pieces of content that you could put together in both digital and printable format, okay? So number one is, do you or should you be creating product catalogs, okay? And these basically give people an opportunity to see the various products that you have as part of your business, either all the products, or maybe you want to showcase a set of special products because they are around a certain theme or around a certain time of year, right? So a product catalog, number one. Line sheets, number two. Basically the same thing, but slightly different in that you may have a multi-page catalog, or you may just put together a simple product line sheet that people can print out just to see a few of the products you have available, okay? Number two. Now, this is about being able to present to people your best offers. So what you want to do is basically think about for yourself, what kind of offers do you want to showcase? Do you want to showcase physical products, digital products, or even your services in a variety of capacities? So, for example, some of you are speakers. In addition to having a line sheet where you can showcase some of your products, maybe you need a speaker sheet so that if somebody says, hey, how much do you charge for speaking, for keynoting, for leading sessions, right? You are available. What do your rates look like? You're able to offer them a breakdown of your prices, okay? So, again, I'm going to first just go over these. As we go through them, I want you to think about either what you have or what you need. And as you're here, definitely feel free to ask any questions if you need additional clarity. So all of these are similar, but they have different names based on what you need, right? So putting together a multi-page product catalog is different than just putting together one or two sheets showcasing your product line, right? Similar, but slightly different. A speaker sheet, again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The next set here that I want to share, circulars. So let's say, for example, you oftentimes rotate your products. Kind of like, think about when you go to your favorite grocery store, right? They have certain products that they showcase on a week-by-week basis. So maybe you want to put together a circular. Maybe you want to put together a flyer that showcases a particular product, right, in detail. Recently, I was working with one of my clients on his magazine, and so over the last couple of months, I've been helping him put together several digital products. He's in real estate, so we did a glossary, we did his magazine, we did about 2 or 3 different ebooks, and so by the end, he had a bundle, and we put together a flyer that showcased all the digital books within his bundle, right? So when you think about this concept of catalog, I want you to really holistically look at the different ways you can showcase your products and your services. Maybe you want to put together a virtual flyer to promote a product, one product, right, or a product bundle, and be able to offer that to people, be able to post it on social media platforms, right? Or maybe you want to create a sales PDF where you're like, this is what's currently on sale right now, whether it be just a signature sale, a seasonal sale, a holiday sale, right? Some sort of sales document or tools, right? Maybe you've created your own tools or you have a set of tools that you teach around and recommend, putting together these types of documents for your audience, okay? Now, for those of you who are here, before I move forward, I want to make sure that you're clear about these parts. So every couple of lines, I just want to pause and check in, right? When you look at this list so far, are you in a space where, number one, you're creating different types of products and you would love to not only have sales pages and a store, but you want to go a little bit further, you want to do a little more and have a document that showcases some of your products, right? And product catalogs oftentimes are very popular among entrepreneurs and business owners, especially who sell physical products. So being able to create a product catalog of their physical products for individual consumers or for people who want to purchase their products on wholesale, right? So do you want to showcase some of your products in a catalog or maybe just create 1 or 2 line sheets so you can showcase some products in your line? This is especially useful if you want to create 1 or 2 pagers that you can present at an event, right? If you got a vendor table, maybe you have some products in front of you, or maybe you want people to also have the opportunity to see outside of what is available at your table, right? Or if you're doing a pop-up or something along those lines, what else you have available, right? For them to be able to grab a flyer or grab a line sheet as they are checking in with you, right? Those of you who are speakers, are you in a space where you're just getting started? Are you in a space where you only do free speaking engagements? Are you in a space where you need to start showcasing how much you would charge for a keynote, for a 30-minute session, for a 60-minute session, for you to put together an actual training versus you being a part of an interview or being a part of a panel? There's so many different ways you can speak, right? Again, keynote, interviews, panels, you actually leading a particular, what do they call those? I want to say module, but that's not what I'm thinking of. When you go to like a virtual summit, or if you go to an in-person event and they have different breakout sessions, you being able to have a speaker sheet where you showcase some of your specialty topics and how much it would charge for you to lead a breakout session versus be a part of a panel versus be interviewed by someone, right? What does that look like for you? Is it something that you have put together or you would like to? Okay? So I do see a few comments before moving forward. Just kind of want to check in with you guys and see what you are saying to me. Yes, I would love that. Okay, let me know which one of these, when you say I'd love that, you're thinking about. I don't do duplicates on jewelry, so I'm not sure how that would work. Oh, okay. One of the things that you can think about as well is what your objective is when you put together a catalog showcasing your products, right? So number one, if you have products that are duplicated, right? Where, they can purchase the same T-shirt in different sizes or different colors, or you have books or planners or journals. You've got products that people can purchase in multiple quantities, right? The same version of that one product. That's one thing. The other thing to consider is if you're talking about, as you mentioned, you create specialty jewelry, so they're never quite the same. You putting together, for example, look at line 3, a lookbook, a portfolio, where you're like, here are examples of my jewelry line that I have sold. These are sold. Do you want to create something similar? Or do you want a certain, maybe you have a certain color combination or style, but you just want to create something that, for example, I remember working with a client who was a hairstylist, and so when we were working on her website, putting together catalog look style lookbooks, virtual lookbooks to showcase the hairstyles that she's done for her clients, right? Working with another client who is a makeup artist and does a lot for TV and film, working with celebrities, being able to create a lookbook that showcases the different celebrities and major films and things that she has worked on. That is another style catalog. So does that make sense? You don't necessarily I have to see it as, well, I'm limited because I don't have products that I mass produce. You can do this for either one. It just depends upon how you define a catalog in that conversation. Because all of these, again, are similar, but the terms may be a little bit different. Makes perfect sense. Okay, awesome. So, again, circular, maybe flyers to showcase individual products or bundles. Maybe you want to put together a sales PDF, right? Maybe it's a certain holiday and you want to put together a circular for that particular holiday. Could be a major holiday, number one. Could be a branded holiday that's unique to your brand, number two. Could be a special interest holiday, right? It's niche specific, like Pizza Day or Grandparents' Day, Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So it's it's a known holiday. It's just niche specific. It's not among the big names, mainstream ones. Okay? So thinking about when you would want to put together catalogs to either showcase all your products, a set of products, or maybe just one or two of them, right? That's number one. And then, when exactly you would want to put these things together. Yes, I agree. I've created a portfolio on my executive gift baskets to show potential clients my work. Yeah, so being able to showcase what you've done for others so people can have a visual. I remember when my son just turned 16, but I remember when I was pregnant with him and we went to our cake maker, and she had a portfolio of all the different cakes that she's done so that we could get a sense of what we could possibly put together. And Jay wanted a cake that looked like a crib. He wanted a cake that was shaped like a crib. And I'm like, this is not Pimp My Baby Shower. I just want a regular sheet cake. You want a cake that looks like a crib. I'm a web designer, as you know, so putting together portfolios where I showcase examples of websites I've put together, right? What kind of catalogs would be a good fit for you, right? Lookbook, a portfolio, maybe a menu, right? So if you are in a space where you either want to say, if you want to order certain things, it could be maybe you are into event planning, into catering, maybe you are a personal chef, right? Giving people a menu of options, or creating a starter guide so that you're like, okay, if you're just getting started, here are the best things that I've put together that can help you, right? I can't tell you, and you guys can think about this for yourself. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and they go, oh my gosh, girl, you got so much stuff. What should I get? Where should I start, right? So creating that starter guide where you can strip away and give people some of those essential things that are really good entry points, that's something else for you to consider, okay? So again, as we go through these, first we're going to go through the list, number one, then I'll show you a few examples, number two, okay? So let's keep on keeping on here. As you can see on line number 4, similar but different, pricing lists, right? So let's say you are one of my clients. She does a combination of health and wellness and hair. And so she has a pricing list of if someone were to come in and want to work with her, what those health and wellness services look like, right? So do you need to put together a pricing list, a rate card? Here are my rates. I was actually talking to a client today about my rates when it comes to having me on retainer to work on different projects on a monthly basis, right? So a rate card or an overall service package that you could put together, right? So some of you have packages, but you find yourself spending a long time having to craft something every time someone new comes to you versus being in a place where you're ready, right? They always say, if you what? If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So you want to be ready for those people who come to you and they're interested in what you do. Have you created these preliminary documents to help you, right? Really give them a sense of what you have and how they can get started. Now, in some cases, keep in mind, you want to just give them the information, but in some cases, you want to make your digital version of your catalog clickable so they can literally not just see the content but click and order it if they needed to, right? So it's up to you to identify what kind of catalogs you want to put together and what kind of overall experience you want to offer. Do you want to just give them the information up front, or do you also want to give them the opportunity to directly go to the purchase page and order from your digital or print catalog, okay? So let's keep on keeping on here. Next line, calls. How many of you, like myself, offer call services, right? And you don't just offer one, but you have a range of calls. So, for example, I offer 30, 60, and 90-minute calls, right? I offer ongoing subscription-based calls. I offer sets of calls, right? So 1 second. I'm going to do a quick power pause so I can get this cough under control. and then we'll move forward. So, how many of you are in a space where you offer coaching or consulting, and not only do you offer this, but you provide a range of ways to work with you? So maybe you want to put together a call catalog where you're like, okay, if you would like, number one, calls based on time, or number one, calls based on getting a set of calls, purchasing one call at a time, purchasing calls on subscription, or maybe you want to define your calls in different ways. So I have clarity calls, I have strategy calls, I have content creation calls, right? So being able to break your calls down in a variety of ways, number one. Maybe you offer some sort of membership, and you want to be able to put together a document where you can break down for people the different levels or tiers of your membership, right? Or you have another style program, and you want to be able to break down the different pricing options for that program, whether people can purchase one-off or some sort of installment plan, what your pricing options look like. And then, of course, also the details of what your program includes. Oops. Touch the screen. So I want you to, again, think about these and then, of course, check in with me to let me know which of these you either have or you go, I think I need something like that, okay? So let's keep on keeping on. Content guides, okay? Content guides are great for marketing your content and cataloging your information. So maybe you have a lot of blog posts. You want to create a guide where people can see some of the articles you've written, click, and go read them. Or you are very active on certain social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You want to be able to create a guide where you link to your social media content, maybe your podcast episodes or your YouTube videos, a content catalog where people can see your information. It's a great way for you to market your content and to drive traffic to your free information. Last but not least, maybe you want to create a resource guide showcasing. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm going to see if I can make an adjustment to how I'm angled, if maybe that's going to help me. Maybe you want to put together a resource guide, especially if you have affiliate offers that you want to recommend, a gift guide where you're showcasing either products that are not yours, but you think these would be great gifts, and you promote them, again, as an affiliate, or you want to put your products together and say, here are some great gifts you could give to him, to her, for the kids, right? And then showcase your products that can be gifted to others, right? Or a review guide where you're in a space, depending upon your industry, you compare different products and offer your review to give people an opportunity to purchase the right thing based on what you recommend or based on your review analysis. So, for example, there are lots of programs you can use for email marketing. So I could put together a review guide of different email marketing platforms and then say, here's which one I recommend, or here are some things to consider to identify if this one is better for you or that one is better for you, that kind of a thing, okay? So before I minimize this screen so I can share a few examples with you, let's come back to the question of, am I missing something, right? are there some things that I've just dropped on you in this conversation that really resonate with you? For those of you who are live, feel free to drop into the chat for me so I can see any of these you go, yes, I need to put together a package guide so people know what my packages are. Or, I really need to put together a guide. I've got all of these articles on my blog. I've got all of this content on social media. It would be great for me to organize it into a document that I can use for marketing, or maybe that I can turn into a lead magnet. What kind of catalog type, based on what we've talked about so far, is resonating with you? A content guide. Okay, good. Putting together a portfolio, possibly a content guide. Which of these resonates with you? Feel free to pop that into the chat so that I can see, number one. And then number two, before we go into some examples, do you have any questions so far about any of the things that I've shared with you here? Now, this is an opportunity for you guys to both let me know which of these resonates with you, or if you need any clarity or have questions about any of these, number one. And then number two, those of you listening to the replay, of course, you also have an opportunity to check in with me. You can always email SistaSense@gmail.com or send me a voice message on SistaSense.com, okay? And then last but not least, some of you may have one-on-one calls with me, so you may want to think about, for our next session, LaShanda, I would love to talk to you about creating this kind of branded catalog for my audience and coming up with a detailed plan. Okay, so just thinking about right now those three things, which of these resonates with you? Number one, do you have any specific questions right now for me? Number two, whether it be live or on the replay side. And then number three, would you like to sit down with me privately to talk about how you can strategize creating any of these for your audience? Okay, 3 pieces of what they call food for thought. Food for thought. So let's see here. Putting together a content guide. I see quite a few of you guys are dropping that into the chat. A lookbook. Good. A gift guide, especially during the holidays, right? Putting together a collection of recommended awesome gifts that you can share with your audience. I used to be heavily into mommy blogging, and I had a blog, the Black Parenting blog. And so for several years, I would create what I call the Color of Christmas guide and showcase different gifts for, the family, right? For parents, for kids, for the family. Let's see. I see a few questions in the chat. Sources for printing journals and calendars. Sources for printing is a little bit off topic, but as far as printing is concerned, when it comes to your journals and calendars, 2 particular platforms that I absolutely love. Well, I would just say the big 3 for me. The big 3, obviously, Amazon, Kindle Direct is the big, right? Amazon is the biggest marketplace around. But when I teach, oftentimes when I teach printing and self-publishing, I talk about 2 platforms that I absolutely love. Lulu.com, number 1, magcloud.com, number 2. 2 big differences between those 2. MagCloud, it's got really great quality, but it costs a little bit more than Lulu because the quality is so high. But it's easier to upload your PDF documents and print on MagCloud. I've printed smaller journals and calendars, my Girl Boss set on MagCloud. But when I get to bigger, like over 40 plus pages, Lulu is better. Has a few more steps when it comes to uploading, but they have more diversity as far as color, black and white, print quality, binded, coil, spot, all the things, so that you could adjust the cost and reduce the cost because they give you more features as far as what you can do to customize your journals and your calendars. So that's just a quick answer to that question. Obviously, as far as marketing is concerned, Amazon is the bigger of the three. But for me, when I teach, especially when I do my Print Your Profits workshops, I often teach around putting together things like journals and planners using my templates and then uploading those PDF documents to either MagCloud or Lulu as part of the workshop. And, of course, you could upload to Amazon either yourself or with some additional assistance. So hopefully that made sense, but you can let me know if you have any other questions there. Let's see. I like the content guide. Can you share an example? I like the call type and pricing. Yes, so I can definitely share. We're about to get into examples of content guides. That's definitely a big one for me. And I'll pop something on the screen for you real quick. What about printing cards, printing motivational cards? That's a big one. You know what? I have gotten that question a lot over the years, and it's not something that I teach or even talk about. But to be honest with you, I am going into the new year, start to have conversations and trainings around putting together your own affirmation and motivational cards. So you can definitely reach out to me privately and ask questions and let me know if you're interested in learning more about that. But I haven't done trainings to be able to give you some direct responses right now. It is on my to-do list, though, and it is coming up in the pipeline as far as the schedule for next year. Okay, great questions, by the way. Feel free to check in with me and pop any further questions into the chat. And as you are doing that, I'm going to share some catalog-style examples with you on the screen. So let's minimize the presentation real quick, and I'll share a few examples with you. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And I will just show a few visuals of different type of things that I've put together catalog style. And again, feel free to drop your questions into the chat. So this is called 15 list building tools and resources. Okay, so I've basically just made first. I always just do a simple outline either in my notebook or in a Google Doc, and then I use my templates to basically catalog the content. So in this case, this is a guide showcasing here are some of my favorite list building tools, okay? Some of the tools are literally tools that I use like ConvertKit and Placeit and Canva. Some of the tools are things that I've created, right? Like my lead magnet starter kit, launch with leads, better than freebies. So it's a combination of tools that I use versus tools that I've created versus opportunities to work with me directly. Okay, so this is an example of a resource guide that I have put together. Let's drop another one of these on the screen. Okay, so here is the email marketing and sales guide. This is a great example of, the first one I showed you was a great example of a resource guide. This is a great example of a content guide. So I picked a theme, and in this case, it was email marketing and sales. And then I picked one type of content, and in this case, that type was blog posts. So I said, okay, I want to create a document where I'm giving people access to some of my best articles around email marketing and sales. So literally, as you're looking at this document, if I click any of these articles, right, let's say I click how to grow your email list, it's going to literally take you over to my SistaSense blog so that you can read the article, okay? So this is an example of a content guide, right? Another one, and I'm going to show you one that's not mine, but it's a great example of a content guide. This is a binge book that was created by marketer, entrepreneur Russell Brunson, and it's his Marketing Secrets Binge Guide. This guide is basically 94 pages of podcast content, okay? It literally gives you access to, I can't see it this way because it's so big. Let me download it onto my computer and then open it that way. Okay, it's going to download in a second so I can show you the pages. But this basically gives you 94 pages worth of his podcast content, okay? So this is another great example. Let's pop it onto the screen here. Let's just go to any page. The first one says, The Power of Rare in Marketing. And it gives you just the title of the podcast episode, a little blurb, and then if you click iTunes, the blog, or Stitcher, you can listen to that episode on any of those platforms, okay? So this is just another way of doing it. I've done this for podcast episodes, for social media content, for quite a few things. Here's another great one. Maybe you want to range and you want to diversify your content. You don't just want to say, I just want articles or I just want videos. You want to give people like a variety of content that you've created. Here's another example of that. So this guide that I put together using one of my templates has a range of different types of content. This page, let me see if I can find it, template. So you click each of these, gives you a template that you can download. Dollar deals, you click each of these, you get access to a $1, $5, or a $10 deal, right? Let me scroll down here. These are 3 different challenges you can click on. I'm going to click this one. And that takes me to Instagram so that you can actually watch the video and learn about this particular challenge that I talked about on one of my social media platforms. So there's a range of content here, from email challenges to content that I have in video format, podcast format, downloadable templates or PDFs. It's a variety, okay? So it's up to you whether or not you want to create something that is diverse or stick to one type of content, okay? Now, again, as I go through these, if you have questions, feel free to check in with me. I'm going to just keep going through these sample examples so that can give you a sense of what you can put together. So it's high time that I update this, but it's just really a simple media kit, right? So if somebody says, oh, LaShanda, I want to interview you, I've got a document where they can get my headshots, they can get my logo, they can get my bio, they can get my speaker sheet, right? And this, again, these are all just really simple documents. This is, it needs to be updated, but like I mentioned before, how much you would charge for a breakout session, for a keynote, for a seminar, if you were wanting to say, this is how much I charge to do a panel or to do an interview, being able to put that kind of document together for yourself. These are just a few visual examples of things that I have personally done. So let's go back to this document here. so I can just kind of refresh myself on some of these things that I wanted to share. Gift guides, yes. Sales guides, yes. So let's take a look at gift guides and sales guides, pricing packages. Let's get back into it. Okay, here's one. This one is a new one. You can actually download it over at SistaSense.com/HSG. Let me repeat that so you can hear me relatively clearly. HSG stands for Holiday Sales Guide. So if you go to SistaSense.com/HSG, you'll be able to see this Holiday Sales Guide. Okay? And so it's like, here are some of the resources I've put together, and you can click on and purchase those holiday sales promotions. Now, I will say this. I have something, it's called my Lead Magnet Starter Kit. And the kit has a template that you can use to create some of these documents. So if you don't have that Lead Magnet Starter Kit, that might be helpful to you to create some of these different style documents, like the content guides and these like holiday sales guides. That one kit, that one template can be used to create 10 different types of PDFs. Now, for the most part, I'm sharing with you how I put together PDF documents, right? But these are things that you can even just do as a simple Google Doc or a simple web page. So let me see. I'm not sure if this is the right link, but I'm going to try it. Okay, yes. SistaSense.com/marketplace. So this is actually a Canva Canva web page. And I won't go into all the details, but you can create web pages directly inside of the Canva.com platform, right? And this is a great example of a catalog. So I said, okay, I want to showcase some of my products. Again, this is SistaSense.com/marketplace, some of my personal tools that you can use. So I think there are about 5 of them here. The first one is a training on how to start your online business, how to do content marketing, how to do content creation, my book club, how to work with me, right? So one of the things that I mentioned to you before was that you can showcase resources that either you use, tools that you use, or tools that you've created, right? Number one. Number two, I just said to you, you can make these into PDF documents using Canva. You can use Google Doc. You saw my speaker sheet. I created that as a Google document with just simple text, graphics, and links. Or you can create web pages in Canva, whether you build them from scratch, use the templates that are native to Canva, or invest in templates externally, like the templates that I've created for you. It's up to you what kind of resources you would like to take advantage of. But this I built out in Canva. Okay? I'm going to pause just to see if you have any questions for me as far as any of these samples that I've shared with you so far, or other things as far as what we've talked about today when it comes to catalogs that you want some clarity around. Let me see if there are any other ones that I want to share with you when it comes to these different examples. We did the resource guide, the gift guide, the holiday sales guide. We did content, program pricing, right? And so you can do it in a document or you can do it on your website. A good example of that is my web design services, right? Some of you need to put together pricing charts so that you can showcase what your prices look like. So here's my, now I do quotes, but I also just have 3 standard web packages, and then I break down what's included in each of those web packages. So do you need to create a pricing chart? First thing would be just to simply outline what your price points are, and then what's the differentiation between each of those levels, number one. And a lot of times people do pricing charts. They have at least 3 price points that they want to be able to break down for you. And this one is at SistaSense.com/web design, number one. And then number 2, I'm going to go to the template hub, SistaSense.com/TTH, so I can show you another pricing table, right? So, and this one's even simpler than the one before. It doesn't have as much text, right? But it's just still breaking down 3 different price points and what is included in each, okay? So creating a page or putting it into a PDF, it's up to you what you would like to do, okay? So, let me check the chat real quick. So now that I've shared a few sample examples for you, again, definitely let me know if there are any particular, what's the word I'm looking for, types that you'd like to see visually. And if I have an example, I'll pop that on the screen if I haven't already done so. But as you guys are doing that, I'm going to come back to the presentation to move forward. Now, obviously, I just gave you like a short list of examples, of samples, and there are so many more than that. So again, you can, while we're together, check in and let me know if you want to see some other examples on the screen, or you can use this opportunity just to do your due diligence and research different types of catalog style PDFs that you can put together based on what I am sharing with you today, right? You know, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, they're your friends, right? Or some of you have time where you have one-on-one sessions with me so that we can privately go through some of these concepts if you need that additional clarity and direction. So, moving forward, I mentioned to you this is a 2-part training. Today is about catalogs, and that's what we're going to focus on strictly. And then in 2 weeks, I'm going to talk about calendars, so we're not going to dig into that today. What I'm going to do now is move into conversations around templates and tools, okay? So when it comes to, for example, putting together packages or offering coaching or offering calls, what are some resources, what are some tools that you can use? Number one, I mentioned to you, for me specifically, when I schedule my calls with clients, I use the Acuity platform, but it's not the only platform that's available. For clients who are just starting out and they don't want to pay for a particular platform and they only want to do free calls, I oftentimes say if you're just going to do free calls and one type of call, you can start off with Calendly because they do have a free level. But if you can afford to do a budget-friendly version, I like Acuity or Stan. But those are some booking and scheduling tools that I use. Also, awesome tools that I use when it comes to booking and scheduling, and these 2 in particular really hit home when we talk about calendars in our next session. Google Calendar, I integrate Google Calendar with just about everything. If it's not on my Google Calendar, it's not happening, right? How many of you use the calendars feature on Google? You could use the Google Calendar app, or you can integrate Google Calendar into another app. I have another app that I prefer, number one. And then when it comes to calendars, number 2 for me is being able to strategically map out content. And I don't know if you know this, but there are quite a few platforms that you can use to map out and publish your content, right? Back in the day, I used to use Hootsuite until they lost their minds and raised their prices, so I canceled that. But I used to use Hootsuite for content planning, and then I moved to another platform called Planoly, Planoly. But in the midst of me using Planoly, a few years ago, Canva launched their content planner. I don't know how many of you know that there is a content planner inside of Canva that you can use, right? And so with that being said, those are some of the content planners that I personally like to use. One second. Or that I've used in the past. I said I used to use Hootsuite, then I transitioned to Planoly, and now, honestly, I use, for the most part, my own content planners, but then there's also the Canva content planner, which is becoming increasingly popular among entrepreneurs looking to just kind of have something that they can organize their content calendars and publish to social media directly from their Canva account, okay? So tools number 1, and as I run through these, I cannot express enough, pause me, check in with me if you have questions, okay? Let's see. I see a chat comment. I believe Facebook Business also has a content. Yes, they do. They also have a content planner that I believe it's in conjunction with the Facebook ads platform so that they can kind of all flow nicely together. I think Planoly, and when it comes to like user friendliness and ease of use for non-techie people, I think Planoly and the Canva content planner is a little bit easier to navigate, mainly because Facebook has so much stuff that sometimes it's hard to find where the things are that you need, or you know where it is until you don't because they're always changing the design of the interface, and so you're like, where is that? Or I know that this can't just be me. Sometimes, and I don't know why they do this, where you find something on the desktop version or on the app, it's there, but then all of a sudden it won't be there anymore, and then maybe a week or a month or two later it'll come back. Example, you can create micro video reels on Facebook. Sometimes I open my home page, it's right there. Click button, create reel. Other times I go to the home page, it's gone. So, yes, I can't tell you that I have experience using their content creation platform, and it's probably great, but again, just the nuances of all the things on Facebook where they put things and sometimes them being harder to find. I haven't personally used that one myself. Awesome. So as I mentioned before, Google Calendar, definitely love their their suite of tools from Google Calendar, Google Docs, Google Slides. I use all of it. I also have my own SistaSense calendars that I create. I don't know if you have the latest calendar, and it's at sistasense.com/DTC. Hopefully it's not hard to understand me with this cough and this Darth Vader rasp, but DTC stands for Download the Calendar. So if you want to see the latest SistaSense calendar of the events that I have, you can just go to one second. SistaSense.com/DTC for download the calendar from yours truly. Okay? So Booking, scheduling, content planning tools. I ran through a few that work for me. Feel free to work what works for you. The calendars are beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. Feel free to work what works for you as far as scheduling tools, but that's just kind of a short list of some of the ones that I like. Number one, and of course, we're going to dig into calendars in more detail in 2 weeks. Templates. So as you know, I'm a big fan of creating and utilizing templates for productivity and speed, right? So what's interesting about this particular month is it's in perfect alignment with the templates that I released this month. So as part of my template club, I released both a catalog and a calendar template. So if you're in the club, the template club or the template hub, you have access to that, okay? Let me show you what those two look like. So actually, let me backtrack real quick. I'm going to go to SistaSense.com/DTC so that you can see my current calendar, right? And it's really simple. It is me, and this might also help you when it comes to thinking about for yourself what kind of content you want to put on a calendar. And again, we'll dig into this more next time, but just to kind of give you both a visual and some food for thought, right? Oh, these are nice. Thank you. I have broken up my calendar based on the types of events that I host as part of my business, right? So I have weekend projects, and you can see when they're happening, and you can actually click on each of them to learn more about getting access. So where the access is, and if you need to go there to register or to log in to access the training. So literally, I'm going to be doing the first weekend profit project for this month, this weekend, and we're going to be working on the first one here, mini courses, right? So you can see I'm breaking down the calendar based on type of event. Weekend profit projects, number one. Weekend webinars, number two. And every quarter I have a weekend webinar, 2-day weekend webinar experience. Fire start your year, spring into action, content to cash flow, and print your profits. So each of these represents each quarter of the coming year and what the weekend webinar is for that quarter and when it's happening, right? So think about for yourself, what kind of events do you host, whether they be virtual, whether they be offline, online, whatever, and how would you want to break that down in the form of a calendar? My monthly mastermind, ding, 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 you guys are in the mastermind. And today we're talking about what? Catalogs and calendars, right? So you literally can see when each mastermind session is happening over the course of the next several months. You can click on the link to either log into the mastermind or to sign up for it if you're not a member, and it's a clickable document, right? So I mentioned to you when it comes to creating these catalogs or even these calendars, you want to think about if level one, you just want to create a document where you're giving people the information, or level two, you want them to also be able to click pieces of content within that document and go to a page where they can log in, where they can sign up, where they can learn more, okay? And then, of course, things that I'm doing on a week-by-week basis, right? And so, yeah, this is just an example of my calendar. And I wanted to show you the calendar first because the templates, it's built from the template. So here is the calendar template. And again, there are two ways you can access this. If you are a part of my template club, every month I release 2 templates, right? This month, the 2 templates that are available are the calendar and the catalog. If you're listening to the replay, obviously if the month has passed, then it would be something else. But that's what real time has been released this month for those of you who are in the template club or want to sign up to it, right? And then I have the template hub. The template hub has well over 100 templates, and that's standard of what you get in there. And then going into the new year, I'm going to be creating a collection set every year, right? So you can sign up for the standard template hub, which gives you over 100 templates. And then every year you can sign up for the template set for that year to get even more on top of what you get in the base set. So if you have the base set of templates, which the Template Hub was released this year, then I made sure to include these in there. So underneath the event planning template set and underneath the branded template set, because it's 10 categories, event planning being one of them. The calendar template is underneath the event planning section, and the catalog template is under the branding section, okay? And so literally my template basically looks like this because I built it from this, right? I built this, and then I customized it to fit what I wanted, okay? And so this is the page that I used, and you could use photos or elements from Canva, or you could use your own images. So in my case, I used my own photos, right? So you can either use Canva elements or your own photos, and then, you know, move it, delete it, replace it, whatever you like, right? This is style 1, and you have different styles to choose from. The next style here, you can put just a full photo versus adding like an element. And obviously, as you can tell, my brand colors are purple. You can change these colors to match whatever it is that your brand colors are, okay? So these just it's highly customizable. If you don't have the template, again, either you can sign up for the template club. And again, if you sign up for a template club this month, you'll get these 2 templates. If it's another month, they're going to be other templates. To guarantee that you get these 2, you sign up for the template hub, because that's where the template hub is a directory. The template club is an ongoing 2 templates a month series. That's what the difference is, okay? The directory has 100 plus templates. The series, the monthly series, the club, you get 2 templates a month. So I wanted to give you different styles, as you can see. If you just want the text without like the date and the arrow, if you want to add little photos, that's another style. If you want to instead use numbers in circular format, or if you want to have a little calendar icon, maybe you want this style. This style is one of my personal favorites. I'll show you that in a second when it comes to setting up just like a text-based style calendar. And then I've got another style which I used quite a bit for my newsletters, which is this one. So there are different styles for you to choose from. And again, if you are a part of the Template Club or the Template Hub, that's where you would get that. We'll talk more about calendars in the second mastermind. The mastermind for today, as you know, was focused on catalogs, right? So this is the catalog template, and you have different covers, right? So here's one cover style, here's another one, here's another one, here's my favorite one, and then you have different ways for you to showcase your products. And you can just pick whatever style resonates with you when it comes to showcasing the different types of products you have, whether you want to use this mock-up, maybe you have a lot of written content and you want to use kind of like this book-style mock-up. Maybe you want to use this laptop style versus the tablet, right? Or maybe you want to have sheets. Remember, we talked about either having a catalog or just creating different sheets where you can showcase a set of products on one page and the product name, the price, and then either just give them that information, period, in digital format or print it out to be able to have it when you're going to events, or you can even make the items clickable, right? So you can add links to the text, add links to the images so people could click and then go to the purchase page for those products, okay? Love this version. So you can either have 4 per page or 6 per page. You can do 3 per page, either white background or colored background. Or here is another cover style, which is inspired by my newsletter template. And there you go. So that is the catalog template in a nutshell. Now, I mentioned to you, and let me see if I can find it and show it to you, lead magnets 10. Trying to find the lead magnets template for you. Okay, here we go. So I mentioned to you a few minutes ago that I also have something called the Lead Magnet Starter Kit. By the way, if you can't find any of these resources, just email me, SistaSense@gmail.com, and I'll let you know where to go to find these resources if you don't already have them. But using this template, you basically can create 10 different types of lead magnets, and I break down what those types are and how you can put together these different types as part of your starter kit, right? So if you wanted to create like a resource catalog or a content guide, this is the template set that I use for those content guides and those resource guides, okay? And this is the 10-in-1 lead magnet template design. So as always, feel free to let me know if you have any questions about any of these. Otherwise, what I will do is continue to walk you through our main conversation for today. Okay. So, as I mentioned to you, when it comes to templates and tools, there are these templates that I've created. You can either use what you see here as inspiration. You can actually grab the templates. Some of you already have access to them, but if you don't, you can ask me, and I'll let you know where you can sign up to get them. Again, I mentioned to you there's the Template Hub and the Template Club, as well as the Lead Magnet Starter Kit. Outside of those resources that I've created, I do also offer services. So number one, you can get support sessions where you and I are working together on your content pieces, right? One-on-one sessions with me, number one, or web design services, number two. So either you want to do some of these things together, that would be a done with you service, versus you say, LaShanda, can you just set it up for me? And that would be a done for you service, okay? Done with you versus done for you if you need some additional support when it comes to creating these kinds of content pieces, creating your catalogs, creating your calendars. Maybe you have the time, maybe you're too busy. Maybe you can design, maybe design is not your thing. You don't have an eye for it. Either way, you can check in with me and I'll let you know what services I have that you can tap into, okay? And then, of course, last but not least, every year I have what is called the Jumpstart Your Business program. And as part of the Jumpstart Your Business program, there are quite a few things that you can get access to. Number one, the Template Hub, the base level, but more importantly, the 1 year access, so that for the new year, all the templates that I produce that coming year you get access to as part of the Jumpstart Your Business program. You'll get the template club, the template hub. You'll get the lead magnet starter kit. You'll get the catalog and calendar templates that I'm sharing with you today, as well as the new templates that I plan to be releasing over the next 12 months as part of that annual program. So I'm just kind of giving you a quick rundown of some of these resources. If you have any questions or need direction around any of these, feel free to check in and let me know. You can also go over to SistaSense.com/jumpstart if you want to take a look at some of these resources. I believe they should be on the Jumpstart page, SistaSense.com/jumpstart. Just checking the chat real quick. What's the lead magnet starter kit? That's the one that I just showed you. That it's 30 plus pages, and you can use it to create 10 different types of lead magnets, like the content guides and the resource guides. That is that starter kit. It's basically a template set, but also you get training as well as different examples of these different types of templates that you can put together. So whereas today I visually showed you some of these examples on the screen, you are able to download the examples and have those accessible to you, right? So you can scroll through them, click through them, or create similar documents to them. Okay, we are about to wrap up our session for today with a challenge. Okay, PYP, pick your project. As part of this two-part mastermind, every time we come together, I basically want you to use what I call my CUD method to identify which of these projects you personally want to work on in the next couple of weeks, right? That's basically the challenge, to pick the projects that you want to work on. Today we're talking about catalogs. So CUD stands for create, update, designate. Based on the different types of catalogs that we talked about, number one, and the examples that I showed you, number two, where do you need to put your time, energy, and effort? What kind of catalogs do you want to create? What kind of catalogs do you already have that you go, ooh, I need to update? Like today I said, oh man, my speaker sheet is so old, definitely need to update that bad boy, right? So what are some content pieces that basically are in alignment that you already have created based on today's conversation that you need to update? You need to create original ones, or to be honest with you, you just need to designate more time to promote that thing. You've already created it, you've already updated it, but you don't talk about it enough, you don't market it enough, you don't share it enough that it's actually doing what it needs to do, which is work for you and work for your customers too, right? So designating more time to make that more a part of your business conversations and your marketing efforts, okay? So your challenge is to, like I said, specifically the topic today being catalogs, identify which projects you either want to create, update, or designate more time to promote within the next coming weeks. And the process is simple. I like to talk about the P's. Once you identify the specific type of catalogs you want to work on, right, then you need to sit down and create time for yourself to prep your project, actually produce the content, publish it as a document, or publish it as a page, and then actually promote that. So when are you going to sit down and map out a schedule and set some deadlines as far as those content pieces, those catalog types that you're going to focus on next, right? And then last but not least, as part of this challenge, my request is that you get the support that you need. Ask questions, whether it be now as we're about to wrap up today, or just kind of process what I talked about today and then come back to me and ask questions. Get help. I shared with you a combination of done-for-you services, done-with-you services, and even DIY, do-it-yourself templates, right? So I do have solutions for you, and then, of course, feel free to check in with me and share your progress, whether it be individually or as part of the community over at firestarters.sistasense.com inside of our Facebook group, right? So you always have the opportunity to check in with me, especially those of you who have access to the templates or you plan on getting access to the templates. You can always, in Canva, click the share button, email me so I can see what you're doing in the template. Some of you have hours with me, support hours, where I can go into your Canva account and help you customize your templates. These are the kind of things that I do, and I want to make sure that you're aware of. So if you do need support, you can get help. If you do need accountability, share your progress with me within the community. And if you do have questions, you can get answers, okay? And so that's your challenge for today. And when we come back again in 2 weeks, it's basically a rinse and repeat, doing the same thing, except for as opposed to focusing on the calendar conversation. In that conversation, we will be digging into, catalogs. Instead of focusing on catalogs, we'll be digging into calendars. Okay. So that is it in a nutshell today as far as what I wanted to talk about when it comes to catalogs that convert. Hopefully today's session was an eye-opener or a reminder that these are content pieces that you should be working on, right? When it comes to creating lead magnet content, there are some standard things that people always talk about, right? They always talk about creating an ebook, or they always talk about creating a checklist, or they always talk about leading a webinar, right? But I believe that, many, many moons now, we have all grown up with catalogs, whether we got them in the mail or we picked them up when we went to our favorite stores. We are in a world where we utilize catalogs a lot because they work, right? So work them, integrate them into what you do to work on improving your revenue, okay? So that's all that I wanted to share with you. I do have a gift guide for you, and I forgot to mention it when I was giving you guys examples over at SistaSense.com/GYG. That stands for Get Your Gifts. So if you haven't already done so, I'm giving away a few things right now because literally this is the gift-giving season. And if you haven't had an opportunity to grab them, you can go get my gift guide of things you can download, things you can access, things you can tap into from yours truly for free over at SistaSense.com/GYG. I don't know. For those of you over here, anybody check out the gift guide today? Let me know as we're wrapping up. But if not, as we're wrapping up, definitely go there so that you can grab some of those good goods, okay? And then, of course, make sure that you are getting the calendar as well. I believe that's also on the page so that you're aware of what's happening next. We do have the second mastermind follow-up to this coming up in 2 weeks. But, of course, in between that, this weekend is the mini course 2-day webinar workshop, as well as the SistaSense Sunday Circle Micro Mastermind. So there are different opportunities for you to, throughout this month, work with me proactively on your monetization, marketing, and sales goals, whether it be within the community or individually via one-on-one sessions and support services. So there you have it. That's all that I wanted to share with you, my dears. Last call. If you want to offer any feedback on today's session or let me know what you plan on doing moving forward, feedback, questions, comments, last call as we wrap up so you can go forth and create your amazing. Thank you, as always, getting back to work. Good. Love, love, love when you guys can get back on track and get fired up and focused as far as your agenda. Of course, that's what the Fire Starter Circle is all about, right? Consistently making sure that your fire doesn't fizzle, you maintain your momentum, and you're doing what you need to do to consistently move forward. Again, I'm here to support. Email SistaSense@gmail.com if you have any questions about what we're doing as part of the Mastermind or how you can get additional support moving forward. My Sunday Circle, the upcoming Jumpstart Your Business program, those one-on-one support services, they're literally sitting and waiting for you to tap into, okay? When it comes to, again, working on your money, your marketing, and your sales efforts. All righty, my dears. Till next time, take care.